And we're going to begin with breaking news because we've got some new pictures coming in along the Houston Ship Channel where we understand that there is an oil refinery now that is ablaze. Take a look at this. This is part of the area where many of the refineries are along Houston. We are seeing these pictures now for the very first time. Angie, did you say that you sent me some information on this? I am looking now. Okay. It's described to us as one of the largest refineries in this area. Boy, I'll tell you, here's the map that we've put together for you. This is something not too different from what we were showing you just last week, not far from there in Austin, or that area where there were some fatalities. We don't know if that's the case here, but again, look at these pictures. It is a oil refinery, and oh, here you go. Thank you, Andreas. We're getting some new information on this now. All right, here we go. Let's get back to the pics, and I'll tell you what we're learning just as the information comes in on this. A shelter in place was issued for some Southeast Houston residents Monday afternoon after a fire broke out at the Lyondell Citgo plant. Officials said all residents near the plant, located at Highway 225 near Lyondell, should shelter in place until hazmat crews determine what fumes were being emitted from the blaze. Now, this is interesting because what they're doing is they're trying to make sure that the people in the area, this is breaking news coming into us now, by the way. They're trying to make sure that the people who live in the area won't be affected by
this particular refinery does about $20,000 worth of crude a day. That's the refining capacity. And so it's a big refinery. I mean, it produces quite a bit. And this is a producer of high sulfur crude oil. So this could in fact, what is burning, could be burning. We don't know if it was an explosion of some sort of blowout, and if there are any injuries. But we're still waiting to hear. Sometimes when there are injuries, the information takes a while to leak out because crews are so busy fighting the fire and everybody trying to make sure they do a head count, see how many workers are in the location, determine where they are, and then they'll come up with perhaps a number of the injured if there are any. We are told that this particular refinery has ability to transform high sulfur crude oil into fuels such as reformulated gasoline and low sulfur diesel. So sulfur seems to be the key component, as well as other products for refining jet fuel, heating oil, lubricants, petroleum, coke, and aromatics. It also has the ability to transform light sweet crude, lube oils, as well as white oils in its lube oil complex. So this is a big complex, does quite a bit of refining for various different products, as we just mentioned. Heating oil, lubricants, jet fuel, light sweet crude, all of that is refined here, and something has gone wrong that has created this extensive fire at the Lyondell Citgo refinery off 225 and Lyondell. Still, right now, 35 minutes into this, a shelter in place that will continue until we hear otherwise from officials as they watch this very, very closely. Hazmat crews are on scene. They will determine, based on the measurement in the air, when it is safe to lift the shelter in place, but based on these pictures, it could be a while. It could take some time before they feel safe enough for people to come out of their homes who live in this particular region. And in terms of the smoke, we've been talking about the winds. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Gene Norman. And Gene, what is the wind like now, and how would it play havoc with this situation?
Well, and as we look at our HD weather bug, we have all these sensors, as you know, across our area, and the arrows here indicate the wind direction. We've got a sensor in Pasadena, which is kind of showing a southeast wind. We've got one Cloverleaf at the 5th Ward, University of Houston. Those are showing mainly southerly winds. So that would be tending to blow that smoke across 225 and then eventually across I-10. Now, one thing to consider is that the upper level winds are fairly light. That's why that column just ascends straight up into the atmosphere as opposed close to being tilted in one direction or another. So upper level winds play a key role in determining where that smoke is going to end up. But at the surface, this is primarily showing southerly winds coming toward the direction of that fire. So that would be pushing that smoke to the north of where the refinery location is along 225. So neighborhoods north of 225 and coming close to I-10 would be perhaps more impacted by that smoke. But it's good that we have weak upper level winds, because if we had a stronger upper level wind, that would tilt that column of air perhaps in a different direction. So right now, again, primarily light east and southeast winds in and around the vicinity of that fire. So we're going to continue to monitor that. We're also continuing to monitor severe weather. There was a tornado warning in effect for Liberty County. That has since expired. There were still some strong thunderstorms up there, but we're going to be tracking a threat for more intense weather moving our way overnight tonight. But right now, the winds here fairly light, but coming out of the south.
Gene Norman, thank you very much for that information. If anything out of what Gene just said is that the weather is cooperating, at least in terms of the column of smoke drifting more upward as opposed to out and across 225 and on to even further to I-10. So far that has not happened based on the pictures that we are looking at now. On about 35-40 minutes that we have been monitoring this situation at the Lyondell refinery off of 225 and Lyondell in southeast Houston, and still pouring a lot of heavy water and chemicals on this particular fire. There you see the map showing this. We will continue to follow this situation, find out all the questions that need to be answered. What caused the fire? If there are any injuries? How long will the shelter in place last? All of that information we will gather for you and get it to you as soon as possible. Around the clock, check khou.com, and we will have the very latest coming up on 11 News at 5. I'm Lynn Cannon. We'll see you then.